For our week 5 video, and I have to be honest, I think I've enjoyed this one the most, doing the research for this topic. But I wanted to pick someone that was famous, that was also inspirational, and not only to my generation, but to my children's generation, because I do have young sons and I want them to look to people that have made a difference in this world. And so, I don't know if you can see my cup. I'm sure you can. But I want to talk about the man that created this character, Walt Disney. He was an iconic figure of the 20th century, and he inspired so many lives, young and old, and it proves they're still making Disney movies and he's still inspiring people to this day. So in the end of the video, I found a quote that I think is just amazing, and how it still pertains to me even as an adult, and to even the rest of our whole generation and what we're going through. But to start off with, Mr. Disney was nominated for 55 Academy Awards, which is phenomenal, and he won 22 of them. He was born on December 5th, 1901. He died in 1966 of lung cancer, but he had a wonderful life. A lot of the quotes that you see from Mr. Disney were, they were thankful for the life that he had been given. He lived throughout his early childhood in Missouri and Kansas and Illinois. He moved back to Kansas in 1919, and this is where he was able to start pursuing his lifelong dream in the film industry. So moving back in 1919, it took him a little while to get his feet underneath him, but by 1927, he had created a character called Mortimer Mouse that was later changed into Mickey Mouse. However, an interesting fact about Mickey Mouse is Walt Disney was only his voice. His partner, Ub Iwerks, was the one who actually drew Mickey Mouse. Like I said, Walt was only the voice behind Mickey Mouse. That was in 1927. By 1932, he had received his first Academy Award. But at that time, it was still for just his short films. He hadn't made any long full movies yet. Also in 1932, the Academy Awards gave him a special award just for the creation and the success of Mickey Mouse. Back in he started a video back in 1924. His first full-length film was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which I found that surprising. I wouldn't have thought, I don't know what I would have thought would have been the first film, but maybe not Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It finally came out in 1937. It took him 3 years of production, then he had run out of money, and by the time he got it all finished, it was several years later. So we're back up to 1937, and that film in 1938 was the most successful film on its first release, and it brought in over $8 million. And back, in the 1930s, 1940s, that was a lot of money. So that was phenomenal in itself, in my opinion. And then moving into the 1940s of Mr. Disney's life, that's when he started developing all of his theme parks. His brother Roy Disney was very much his partner. Roy handled all of the financial aspects of the theme parks, while Walt handled the creation and helping his teams come up with new ideas and new concepts for these Disney theme parks. And one of the quotes I found that he said concerning the theme parks from Walt Disney, he said, "To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world." And I can remember my first trip to Disney World, and yes, it was inspirational, and I still remember it. I was 15, and it was just the highlight of my life at that point it was. And so I've been inspired personally. My children are inspired. They watch Disney movies all the time. But in conclusion, the reason why I chose Walt Disney and how I think he is important even to people of our generation and to people in this specific class was that he went through so much and yet he was able to succeed, and he did have a happy life. He had to overcome some issues. He had to press through and find new solutions to things. But I'll say hit this quote, and he quoted this in 1957, several years before he died. So I'll end on this quote, and this sums up why I chose Mr. Disney for this study. All the adversity in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing for you.